Hi everybody, welcome to episode 34 of the Teesside Business Podcast. Today we are joined by Allison Merryweather from Hypno Health and Hypno Slimmer. Thanks very much for coming down and having a chat with us.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
No problem at all. So we'll start off by, if you want to give us a brief history, like career history of yourself and what led you into hypnosis and then the business. Let's
Complete stumbling of events really. Okay. I'm in a very fortunate place where I've got 3 daughters. I have been able to kind of work around school hours, and I feel very fortunate to have been able to do that. But I found a point in my life where children have nearly finished school and want to build up a bit of a career for myself and do something that I could really get my teeth stuck into. My older daughter fell pregnant and had a massive needle phobia.
Oh, gosh.
So went to the doctors countless times, feeling sick, passing out, really in a state. And the health visitor suggested we sort out sort of hypnotherapy for her.
Okay.
So went along those lines. She had 2 sessions and was completely cured.
Really?
And having seen how something can work so amazingly on a family member, I was really keen to sort of think, I need to look into this and I'd like to learn to do that. And then as Facebook, how it works, I'd searched for hypnotherapists, so it started throwing out all these courses and things, and then stumbled across Innovisions, and never looked back. I've done my training with those. Zoe Robinson was a fantastic tutor, and real passion for it, and sort of seeing how it works on people.
So, obviously, it's something that we I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, because I had no idea how do you even get started on being a hypnotherapist and things like that. How long does it take you then for starting, like you've first course or whatever, to be able to the point where you can hypnotise people and then to the bit where you have to do all the kind of...
the course was a 10-month course, 1 weekend a month over a 10-month period. We could hypnotise somebody after the first week.
Really?
Yeah. God. Just a brief sort of, it's called an induction and deepener. Putting somebody into hypnosis, we got taught that at the very beginning.
Oh, right, okay.
And then you just build on your skills, build on your toolbox. They take you sort of along different routes of different things you might want to treat. And then most of the course was practice.
Yeah.
Until you get to the end.
So when most people think hypnotherapy, they think, show my age, Paul McKenna. That's, for a lot of people, I have no idea who he is, but he was a famous hypnotherapist. And that kind of stage hypnotherapy,
yes.
which obviously, is very much an act as well as, doing it to help people and treat people.
Well, the basics are very similar. Getting people into hypnosis is similar. I don't know if you've ever seen a stage hypnosis. They normally get sort of 15, 20 people up on the stage and are left with maybe 4, 5 or 6.
Yeah.
They're because they've accepted the suggestion that the hypnotherapist is making to them. One person might go out on a Friday night and think, I don't want to run around stage like a chicken. Yeah. Another person might think, do you know what, it'll be a laugh. My mates will have a laugh. Yeah. I'll entertain everybody. Yeah, I'm going to go with it. Yeah. And it's that accepting the suggestions as to whether the hypnosis will work. So I always say to people, maybe, for instance, smoking. Don't come to me if you don't want to give up. Yeah. You've got to want to stop and accept the suggestions that I'm making to you. So it's as easy as, if you want to make the changes in your life, the hypnotherapy will work.
So when it comes to, obviously, treating people and things like that, obviously it's like stage hypnotherapy is very much like putting a suggestion. When you hear a bell, you'll run around like a chicken or whatever it is. What kind of difference is then about hypnotising people and getting them to either stop smoking, lose weight, or
so everything I do starts off with a free consultation. So we have a list of sort of really good questions to get really into people, and get them to tell us what their issues are. The more information and the more open people are with us, the better the hypnosis will work if they decide to go forward with it. All my sessions are personally written according to what I've got from the person during consultation. So if they're telling me they want to change for these reasons, I'm going to feed those back to them in their subconscious, and then they will also sort of accept the suggestions because they've really been their suggestions.
Yeah. And how many sessions does it generally take? I imagine it's quite individual.
It is very individual. I've had clients that have come, one lady for instance, really stressed out at work. She was drinking every night. Thought, this has got to stop. She came, she had one session, rang me, couldn't believe it, fantastic, haven't had a drink since. Other people, normally 3 or 4 sessions, and then you start re-looking at the consultation because there may be something they haven't told you. So generally it's about 3 or 4. I've got a lady that's been, I think, 5 or 6, but then there's things that have come up that I've asked her since we started. And because obviously she hadn't felt as comfortable in the beginning with me, she hadn't told me certain aspects of the issues that she had.
Which I can imagine affects it. So is it one of those things where, you know, people have X amount of sessions and they're like, they go through the treatment, do they need like top-up sessions or anything like that? Or is it like
so how it works, your subconscious is a huge part of your brain, so it's about 80%, 80-20. When you're born with a couple of receptors. One that gets turned on straight away is how to breathe. Couple of fears of loud noises and falling. But when you're born, that's pretty much what you're born with. And everything else is a learnt behaviour. So throughout our life, the receptors get turned on. We learn bad habits off our parents. We get programmed by our grandparents to do various things. And sort of that's where, when we work with the subconscious, we either turn them off if they don't want those habits anymore, or install better habits, more confidence, motivation.
Okay. So when it comes to people like having those habits that they, you know, want to grow or got rid of, is there certain things that, you know, you mentioned obviously stress and drinking there, we've touched on weight loss, quit smoking. Are there certain things that respond better to hypnosis, or is it, if it's an unwanted habit, it's something that you can treat?
Yeah, you can pretty much treat anything.
Okay.
It's amazing. I mean, people know about the fears, the phobias, the anxiety, but you can go into fertility treatment. It's brilliant for people that are thinking of maybe going down IVF. They've tried everything else, been trying for years. I would really recommend trying hypnosis first, because the invasion and the price of the IVF is unbelievable. You would work with a couple with that one, and it's all about going back to nature, getting the brain to forget you're trying. The more you try to do something, the harder it tends to be. So stopping them from trying, really, and then just giving them nature's way back. And you'd be amazed at how many people fall pregnant through fertility treatment with hypnosis.
Oh, that's brilliant. So do you ever come across people who are like, we talked like at the start there about people who are susceptible to it. Do you ever meet people who are just like really not susceptible to it? Obviously not including people who don't believe in it or whatever, you know, because they're never coming to a hypnotherapist anyway. So I imagine, like, I'm on about just naturally, you know, they still want to be hypnotised or anything.
The majority of people, there's a very, very small percentage of people that can't be hypnotised. But like I said, if you want to make the changes, we go through hypnosis a lot during the day, and people don't realise that I'm going to put them into a state of mind that they're actually in themselves a lot during the day. Falling asleep, for instance, your brain goes through a hypnotic state. So going to sleep, waking up, you're in that state. So when you drive to work, do you drive here every day? Yeah. Get to work and can't remember getting there.
Yeah, you drive past so many turns and go, I can't remember driving.
So that is your brain being in hypnosis, in a daydream state. So I just get you into that state and do the work then.
And is it like, a lot of people obviously think of the cliched thing of like the watch kind of thing. Like, are there many different techniques to get people into that state? Or?
Again, during the consultation, we try and work out what type of person you are. So whether you're a visual person, auditory, or kinesthetic, and then we have different things. I can use music if you're auditory to help you along the way with the relaxation side of it. There's lots of different things, and if something I tried didn't work, I'd just pick another one and try that.
So when it comes to the actual like treatment of it, say we'll take smoking for an example, where is it a case of when somebody thinks, oh, I would have a cigarette here, or I feel like a cigarette, like either do they feel like physically sick and don't want one, or is it that the brain just goes, well, actually you don't feel like a cigarette, or is it helping them cope with it? Like I didn't know that.
So with the smoking especially, it's one session and they leave a non-smoker.
Okay.
We instill things that make them, if say you were to offer me a cigarette, I'd turn around and say, no thank you, I don't smoke.
Yeah.
And it's that simple that they leave a non-smoker and the thought of having a cigarette just doesn't interest them.
Can you do self-hypnosis? So like, I just thought there, just where like you, because you know a lot of people, you know, bad habits. Like, could you learn to self-hypnosis, or you know, whether it be drinking every night, you know, I'm going to drink less or whatever, things like that.
Yes, you can. We got taught to do that on the course, and I've been using it ever since. I used to have trouble sleeping. Yeah. Get to bed now, hypnotise myself. Sleep like a baby. So it's something that it takes a little bit of practice. Obviously, we'd been hypnotised a few times before we were taught to self-hypnotise, so you know kind of the feeling you're heading for. But it's quite amazing what you can do. You can turn pain down. I've had headaches and things, and I've hypnotised myself for 10 minutes, got rid of the pain and got on with my day. So it really is like a sort of unfound alternative therapy that can be used for so many things.
I've heard, and obviously like you're going to have to correct me if I'm not correct here, but you can't, like for people listening, I'm not sure if this is true, but you can't hypnotise somebody and make them do something they don't want to do. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So you couldn't walk into a bank and hypnotise someone and go, give me the money out of this, or you know, every time you know you hear a bell, you're going to start squawking and run around like a chicken for the rest of your life. Like, you know.
I can't make you tell me anything you don't want to tell me, do anything you don't want to do, or accept suggestions that you don't want to accept. So again, that goes back to wanting to make the changes.
And obviously, you know, as running a business and things like that, you wouldn't want to do anything like that because
exactly, it's unethical.
And you know, you want to do the things that are going to benefit your business and things.
And
like
I think this is where we do meet a stumbling block occasionally, is getting people away from the bad stuff that's been in the press before, the stories they've heard. Because that is very unethical. It
is, and obviously you only ever kind of hear of that side of it, you know, like, and or you see stage hypnotism, and that's only how you can do it. So how have you found being a hypnotist in Teesside then? Obviously it's not something like you're the first hypnotist that we've had on our contact the page, you know, it's not something that I suppose you really think about till you're in the position of needing one. So how have you found it as like a business in Teesside and things?
So far so good, touch wood. It's been absolutely fantastic. I'm very fortunate that the premises I decided to go into, it's called The House on Ackland Road, 283 Ackland Road, and it's run by some businesswomen who have had a business a few years. They have weddings and venues, like sort of dress venues for occasions. They decided to rent this building. It was a derelict old doctor's surgery. So they've rented it, renovated it, and now they've rented out all the rooms that they don't use. So as a business, it's great because we all support each other, we all share each other's posts. We've just had an open day, so it was an open day for all the businesses, which obviously generates more than if I was standalone. And the more people that find me there are really interested.
So are there any other types of businesses that, you know, that you work with that can forge partnerships? So for example, I don't know, anybody who might be in like health or well-being, or a chiropractor or something like that, or is there anything that kind
of... I'm definitely looking into. I've got sort of my fingers in a few pies at the minute, just putting the feelers out, because obviously, again, I'd love to get into corporate businesses, because obviously hypnosis, the results are sort of immediate, whereas if you've got a high level of sickness in your business, they may be waiting for appointments, they may be waiting for counselling, they may have been put on sick and been put on medication. I'm really keen to get into that mental health side of things. So working with businesses to try and reduce their absenteeism and their sickness level is something that I'm definitely sort of looking into and interested in.
Could it be used like from a training perspective, say for example, like salespeople, like putting them in like in a good thing to start picking up the phone, like if they had fees of knocking doors or whatever it is, like could it be framed into that kind of thing?
It certainly can. You can instill sort of public speaking, motivation, confidence. One of the girls that I trained with, brilliant hypnosis, absolutely fantastic, but she didn't like the sound of her own voice.
Okay.
So I did a little bit of work with her, just put a bit more confidence in there, and actually instilled the fact that she would love her own voice. Yeah. And she's flying.
Oh, phenomenal.
Absolutely flying.
So are there certain in your business currently, do you have a majority of people who are, let's say, quitting smoking or losing weight or something like that? Is there like one type of hypnosis that you do more than others, or is it a bit of a wide range?
The Hypno Slimmer is definitely sort of up there with the more popular, but it's very much like body and mind are all part of the same system. So if you look after one, it's great to look after the other. And I think we are a generation of feeders, which is why we now have the obesity crisis that we have. And with the Hypno Slimmer, it takes you back to nature. How you were born. So if you've ever tried to feed a baby, when they've had enough, they've had enough. As an adult, you sit and you finish it until you can't move because you're over full. So the hypnosis for the Hypno Slimmer just takes you back to nature's way. When you've had enough, you stop eating. And it's as simple as that. So that's been really, really popular because it's again something that is with you for life. Diets, I'm not going to knock them, but a lot of them, you do them for a short period of time to get into the dress for the wedding, go on the holiday and get on the bikini. And a lot of people, not all of them, but once they stop dieting, put all the weight back on.
Or they go on the holiday, which is an all-inclusive one, and drink and eat as much as they can. You know, 2 days after they've been on the and we've all been there.
Yeah,
you know.
We have all been there. And this is totally like I would never have thought of living my life like this before I'd come across hypnotherapy. And it's just brilliant.
So, as far as like getting like ideal clients or whatever it is, are there any people with certain phobias or types of people that you would like to work more with, or people out there who might not necessarily have thought of hypnosis as a treatment?
I mean, like I said, I'd really like to get into the mental health side of things. We've had our family and extended family touched a lot. Various members of the family have been touched a lot by mental health. Getting people with anxiety to come in, people that are like struggling with depression. I'm really, really sort of interested in getting more clients that side of things.
I can imagine. Like obviously, that's a wide range that I won't go into detail on here.
And children as well. I mean, there's so many children now that are struggling at school because of anxiety, social phobia. They've done all the work for their exams, getting to the exams and completely crumble.
Nerves, is a big thing, performing under nerves and things like that, I can imagine, for a lot of people.
I'd like to work with children. I've got a DBS check, so if anyone wanted to come in
that's good
who is a child,
I'm
already sort of qualified to do that. It's
that's brilliant.
Again, it's getting the parents, because they're probably a little bit more dubious if it's their child that's coming for the work. It's sort of convincing them that everything's safe and natural.
Can parents be present when the child's getting hypnotised, or it depends on the situation?
Depends on the age and the situation. I have had a couple of experiences where I've done the consultation where the parents been there, and parents like to speak for their children. So
kids might not be forthcoming, for example, if
I really need the person who I'm treating's language. So there's no point the parent telling me what the problem is, because actually when the parent leaves the room, the child's problem might be a completely different thing.
Or you're trying to hypnotise them in the, like you say, the voice of their mother rather than their own voice to thing. I can understand that definitely. So when people come on the podcast, I don't know if you've seen, but we ask people the same 3 questions. So the questions are, for anybody who hasn't seen it already, in order. We'll go through them and then get your answers. The first one is, what does your idea of success look like? And we've had so many different answers. It's brilliant, because we want to display it to a lot of people that there's not one thing. We have had some people who said, when I'm a millionaire, when I've got so much in the bank, I'm going to build my business to this. We say other people who've said, I already am, or some people have said when I can do this so I can spend this time with my kids, or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Like, there's been so many different answers. It's been brilliant. The second one is, have you ever had a setback or a failure that's actually put you on the path to success or something great, like further down the line? A lot of people have talked about like getting made redundant, which made them start their own business, or, you know, someone said about losing a loved one actually made them start the dream. And so a company who came on, an IT company from Hartlepool, he had a few strokes and things like that allowed him to reevaluate his life and start his own business, which was a brilliant story. So there's a few different, you know, there's no right or wrong answer to any of it. And then the last thing is one thing that you are obsessed about at the moment. And like, this is kind of anything. So we've had TV shows. Our last episode that we recorded was a TV show. The mayor, when he came on, was obsessed with like Alexa and like automating his home. We've had gadgets, hobbies, you know, anything and everything. There's so much. Yeah, there's so much that out there that people are, so it's good. So we'll start with the first one of what does your idea of success look like?
My idea of success, I suppose, would be a real following of people who I've helped, and them sort of spreading the word of mouth, which would help make my business grow. Yep. But my main thing is just to help people live the life that they want to live without having those things that hold them back.
It's like, you know, we didn't say the podcast like earlier in the podcast, but it must be very rewarding work. You know, you must get a real sense of like pride of like seeing those things. You know, like you know,
it's lovely, and
helping people quit smoking and things like that are massive. They're not small things that you're helping people with.
Yeah, it is very rewarding and kind of a pat on the back when you get those success stories.
I can imagine. So, have you ever had a failure or a setback, or what seemed like a failure at the time that's actually led you onto a different path?
I suppose maybe one of the most frustrating things throughout my working life, I used to be an aerobics instructor, worked in the fitness industry, and then hurt my neck. Yep. And tried to sort of get over that and get back into it, but I just found it was getting worse the more work I did, so I had to step out of that and find something new. But I'm now doing this kind of thinking the two marry up really well together. So I've got quite a good insight into the body. Yeah. And now the mind as well. So
it was like pre-training before doing it that allows you to have past experience kind of thing. We see that a lot of people have actually say, well, it sounded terrible at the time, but what I went through with that job actually gave me a really good set of training for what I do now. Currently, I just didn't realise.
And like I say, with the family history, with so many people having had mental health issues, I'm really keen to be able to get out there and help those sort of people. So I suppose that is a driver as well. And
lastly, what thing or object or whatever are you obsessed by at the moment? Obsessed is like a very finite term, but can be really into, or you know, that kind of thing.
God, that's a really tricky one. My goddaughter. No, my granddaughter. My goddaughter. No, my baby granddaughter. Yeah.
Oh, definitely a good thing to be excited about.
Definitely a good thing. Yeah, I was a bit dubious to start with about being a grandparent, but yeah, she's.
Are you a nana?
Nanny.
Nanny
Ali.
My mother-in-law is a nanny.
Yeah, Nanny Ali.
Yeah.
Well, being southern, my grandparents were nannies.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's adorable.
Yeah, that's the best thing ever. Yeah. So, is there any messages that you would like to get out there to people, or stuff that you've got happening soon that you like to make people aware of?
The main message really I would like to get out there is don't be scared. Don't be afraid to try something new. You may have tried a few different things to help yourself. But like I say, all my consultations are free. There's absolutely no obligation. Come and have a chat, have a coffee, get to know me. And don't be scared, because we can discuss any problems or any thoughts. People do have, everybody I've seen has been completely different. Their myths, their misconceptions, the questions they have, everyone's different. Just say, just give it a go.
And where are the best places for people to get in contact with you if they do want to chat?
Facebook, Hypno Health, clinical hypnotherapist, and my email address is ali.hypnohealth@outlook.com.
Yep, which we'll have all in the description below.
Brilliant, fantastic.
Right, so thank you so much for coming on and talking about this. It was been really educational. I learned like a lot about that, so thank you so much. This has been episode 34 of the Teesside Business Podcast. The Teesside Business Podcast is promoted and produced by Person to Person Marketing. Thanks very much for listening.